Blake, what Star Wars character do you identify most with? Is it Jabba the Hutt? Is it?
Toby, why do you keep asking me to wear this metal bikini?
Welcome to the ChurchGear podcast, where we pull the tech out of the booth and onto the stage to share the most outlandish stories and hidden wisdom from the tech trenches. And now, here are your hosts.
I'm your host, Blake Hodges, a man who identifies most with Princess Leia, and I'm with my co-host, who is the most Jabba the Hutt mofo I've ever seen, Toby Walters.
I rarely read what you write in your response. I probably should have said that or read that before you.
No, it's good for you to hear it like live. That's great.
Oh my gosh. I got to get this image out of my head of you in a golden bikini. This is just killing me right now.
Well, that was like a whole thing. Like, yeah, she's done a lot of interviews being like, horrifying. That was not her favorite day on set.
Yeah. And Blake, my weight has not ballooned more than 5 pounds in my entire adult life. So do you want to, reframe this whole Jabba the Hutt conversation here?
No, I mean, your face is disgusting enough that, I might be 50 times fatter, but you've got the face for Jabba.
Wow.
You have a face.
Let me go ahead and fire you now. So add that to your count. You're fired.
Dude, I'm off next week, and this is our 5th pod recording this week. No, you don't get, this is the one.
This is the 6th.
The 6th even. Yeah. I deny it. No firing this time.
Yep. All right. So I love how Star Wars is kind of like the, just typical passion of most tech people. At least it was when I was growing up. Like everything was Star Wars themed. The door of our sound booth had a bunch of Star Wars references on it. So when you walk in, kind of the vibe of the space.
Well, yeah, your tech starter pack is a black t-shirt, coffee, and some kind of Star Wars paraphernalia.
Yeah. And I was certainly a fan of Star Wars growing up. I love the original trilogy, but there's been so much Star Wars content that's come out over the years. Blake, what percentage would you say you've kind of followed the whole Star Wars content?
I've seen every single episode of every single thing they've put out.
Okay. So you're very much identifying with our audience that you're a big Star Wars nerd.
Toby, my whole closet is black now. I love Star Wars. Yeah. I have all the tech traits. I just don't know how to operate any of this stuff.
You have none of the skills.
But all of the attributes.
Yeah, perfect. And growing up, we did this thing at my church when I was in middle school and high school, the youth directors that a couple of them would also help out with the tech team. And they were very much into Star Wars. So we'd borrow parts of the sound system from the church and we just set up all the speakers that we could get into the youth room. And we'd show Star Wars on a TV and we just crank it up super loud. And it wasn't quite surround sound back then, but it was just like, let's make it as loud as we can possibly make it. And it was a lot of fun.
Freaking yeah.
Yeah.
I bet that was amazing. Right before we started this episode, I had to go into the tech lab because we have a thunderstorm right now. We also, uncertain times, I thought a nuclear bomb had dropped. I genuinely was like, Oak Ridge is not that far from here. Did we get hit? Like this sound. And then I was like, maybe it's the thunder. No, it's just man-made speaker boxes can make that kind of sound. Speakers are incredible.
Our tech team was probably running wider pink noise through the subs out in the tech lab.
They were doing something. They said something about we test all of our gear here. I was like, guys, just get it out, get it through the system. My goodness. But no, they were doing all their smart testing.
And so when I got into high school and I started doing sound at the church as well, I took over this kind of like, I felt it was my duty to set up these movie nights for the youth. And so
Toby throwing a party? No way.
I know. And so again, we just set up like all the speakers, all the subs, like everything we get our hands on and just crank it up until one day I made a little bit of a blunder. Now, granted, this was all just my friends in college at this point. We're all adults. But I showed a movie with some inappropriate content at the church.
Toby, double sin.
I know. So
what movie was it?
It was, it's on the tip of my tongue. It was like fighting alien creatures. But there's a lot of action, inappropriate content. Yeah. Oh, Starship Troopers. That's what it was called.
Starship Troopers. What a classic satire.
It sounded amazing through the system as well, because all that all the blasters, space travel.
I kind of want to go watch that right now.
I know. Just don't watch it in church unless it's like the edited for television version.
Well, speaking of someone that would never make the mistake of showing an inappropriate movie at church, the production director at Vive Church, Danielle Iselin, is joining us today. Danielle.
Hi.
Danielle. Do you not know women named Danielle?
I get so nervous that I'm going to say the names wrong that I mess them up on because of that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Danielle, welcome.
Yeah, you didn't know what
Hi.
you were getting yourself into. And so I apologize in advance for what you're about to experience, but Blake is not normal, just so you know that.
We had a fan of the podcast reach out and they were like, you have to have her on the pod. And so we were like,
Yeah.
I get a lot of those. And I was like, let's see. Nope. Then we looked at all your stuff and we're like, yes, we have to have this production person on the podcast. So thank you for joining our tomfoolery here.
Oh, great to be here.
And so, by the sound of your voice, we assume you're an Aussie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 5 a.m. for you right now.
No, it is 12:41 in California.
She's an Aussie transplant to California.
Once an Aussie, always an Aussie, Toby. It's Central Time for me, even, no matter where I am in the world.
Yeah. And Blake, I was wondering, is Australian now the just most common foreign accent that we've had on the ChurchGear podcast?
100%. We had a UK guy yesterday, but I mean, that's a drop in the bucket. We're probably getting close to 10.
There are a lot of Aussies out there that have descended on America, but also doing production out in the rest of the world. And so I've enjoyed every one of them. And I assume Danielle's not going to let us down either.
Well, that's a lot of pressure to put on a person, Toby.
Taking over. Love it.
Yeah. So Danielle, based on your accent, we just assume that you're smarter and more talented than the rest of us. Can you give us a bit of a snapshot of your background? How'd you get your start in production? What led you to your role today?
Yeah. So grew up in a tiny town in Australia and literally grew up doing production. My parents went to like a small church. Literally one of my first memories is my dad putting me on his lap and going like, tell camera 1 to do this, tell camera 2 to do that. So I kind of like grew up loving production, got a real job, real degree, got married, moved to the US and started going to a great church and remember like, oh, hey, I had that dream back when I was, really young of like, maybe one day I could do this when I'm grown up. And God is like so good and so faithful and started interning, went full time, been there 9 years now.
Okay, so what year kind of time frame was it when you were a kid and you started getting involved in production at your home church?
They let me on the team at 13 because that was the youngest they would let anybody on.
That's amazing. I was 13 as well. So
really?
Blake, maybe by the time you turn 13, they'll let you do production at
13
church.
in maturity. I also would say in the tech starter pack is I dropped out of college, little blurb. So she does miss that. She did too much by graduating college.
Yeah, you got a real degree. What's your real degree in?
Accident forensics and investigation.
What in the world?
So she's actually on this podcast to bust us, Toby.
Yeah.
No, as in like my internship was investigating like light aircraft crashes in New Zealand. So like things go wrong, crash. How do we fix it? How do we make it not happen again? How do we figure out what happened?
Was there ever someone that intentionally crashed the plane? They just went full Grand Theft Auto in real life?
Not in my particular studies, but surprisingly applicable to production, like you wouldn't believe.
How so?
I think we will... there's a few concepts that I'll say I've brought into training, like how we kind of troubleshoot and how we teach producers to actually like be during a crisis that are borrowed from some aviation kind of well-known things that when you're learning to be a pilot, how do you learn to like stay calm when the plane's going down and like figure out what to do next?
Blake,
and then
we should have a leaderboard of most interesting podcast guests. And I think Danielle is quickly rising the ranks.
That is so wild. Like we get a lot of, what's the reoccurring stuff? Like architect.
Architect?
I don't know, Toby, I'm pulling out of my butt. There's like 3 different careers that
You're already on vacation, aren't you?
I told Luke from HouseRight this morning, I was on a call with him. I was like, yeah, I do have a little senioritis right now. I for sure do.
All right. So you got crisis management. You're helping your producers learn that. Any other, overlap between?
Oh, lots. Because I think like at its heart, like a lot of what that safety investigation stuff comes down to is like, what went wrong? How do we make it not happen again? Which is like so applicable to like every incident that you have in tech. Something goes wrong. What happened? How do we create a great culture around it that's not a culture of blame? And then how do we make sure that it doesn't happen again?
Do you have a black box somewhere in your production suite at your church?
No, we do have like a BTS cam I've been using for like some Instagram behind the scenes and stuff. Yeah. That's probably as close as it gets because that has comms and it captures all of our like banter and silliness.
Yeah. So what brought you to the U.S. specifically?
Oh, my husband worked for Google at the time.
Yeah.
So we transferred over to the Bay Area because that's where Google is, as part of like an internal transfer. And I started looking for a job and realized I actually couldn't get a job in safety here because all of the laws are different to Australia. So as I was looking for a job, that's when I started being like, I've got a little spare time. I can intern a couple of days a week at the church. And the rest is history.
Okay, so a quick aside. So I'm terrified of flying. Blake is too, because we think it's unnatural that you're 39,000 feet in the air and bouncing around in the sky. Should we be scared, or are you just like everybody else that says, it's the safest form of travel, but you're seeing the other side?
Yeah, you're seeing the bad stuff.
No, every aviation law is written in blood, literally, as in something goes wrong and something changes so that hopefully it doesn't happen again the same way. That's what all of the investigation stuff is for. When someone gets into a car crash, same thing's going to happen tomorrow because it's not being legislated and investigated and refined the same way that air travel is. So I side with everyone else.
Do you ever think twice about hopping on a commercial flight yourself?
No.
She just said aviation rules are written in blood, the blood of past mistakes. I know that's to make it safer, but that just makes it sound worse.
Yeah.
Toby, I'm not.
I did have a pair of professors in college who were married, and one investigated train accidents and the other investigated plane accidents, and they had like a strict agreement to just not talk about it when they were on each other's form of transport.
Which one is more dangerous, trains or planes?
Oh, it has been too many years since college. I don't know if I could tell you off the top of my head that one.
All right.
Dude, I'm not flying to Dallas when we go visit in August. I'm straight up driving that thing now.
Okay. It's 11 hours, bud. Put on your podcasts and your footballers and just go for it.
Yeah.
We'll meet you there.
Take a couple Benadryl, go to sleep. It'll be great.
So Danielle, give us a little bit of breakdown of your current church. What's your setup there? Your multiple campuses. What's your production team like? How do you guys do church?
Yeah, so Vive Church is 11 locations globally. We have campuses in the US, Italy, London, and then we're also launching in Germany, and we're launching 4 more in October. So around over 3,000 attendants across all of locations, and we have a vision to get to 100 campuses in the next 10 years.
Whoa.
Over the world. So big vision.
Yeah.
We're around about 1,000 people strong in our flagship location in Mountain View, which is where I am, and 38 production team.
Did you just say 38 on your production?
38 for Mountain View only, okay. That is.
Hang on. These are not full-time people, right? These are volunteers.
No. All volunteers. I'm the only full-time staff for production.
I was about to say, this is the most wild proportion I've ever heard in my life.
That'd be awesome.
No.
For about 17 seconds, every tech person in America was very jealous.
Yeah. So for all the campuses in other locations, are they receiving the feed from you guys? Are you live streaming there? How does their setup work?
Yeah, we do live stream once a month, what we call Global Sundays, where we do stream it out to all the other campuses. We use Resi. They're amazing. And the rest of the month is generally like a local preach.
Okay. And live worship at every campus?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So a consistent theme we hear when we're on the podcast or we talk to production leaders, we go out to events, is volunteer recruitment and training. How do I find people willing and interested in doing production? And then how do I train and onboard them? And so we turn that over to you as our resident. You know how to assess a plane crash, but it seems like you also have developed a system for recruiting and training volunteers. Can you walk us through some of that, how you do it?
Yeah, I think this is such an important conversation that it's so easy to talk about gear and, what's the latest, but it's something that's so important is getting a great flow of the right people into your team. So I think that it comes from the top. We have amazing leadership that honestly flow through, they value production, they value great production, they put time and money into it. We don't actually lack for great equipment, which is huge. And it starts with working with kind of the other teams in the church, right? So I think before you can just be the whole answer is in production, you have to ask what's actually the process for a new guest to kind of get to church and then want to get on team, right? Pretty much in every church, there's going to be some kind of like next steps or about us or join the team or some kind of assimilation process where you figure out how to get to be part of the church by serving, right? So I think it starts with working with those other teams of like, how do they talk about production? Do they know what kind of roles you need? And are they aware of that people don't need any training, just interest? Are they aware that we don't just need like technical people, you know, like we need people who can command a room and produce, and people who maybe aren't even that technical but can be really neat and tape a stage. So kind of like really having a great dialogue with like them of like, hey, here's what we need. Here's the kind of people we're looking for. We're looking for people who like might be really calm or have a really good background in, say, engineering, or they work, you know, you kind of get these conversations of like, widen your view of what a production person could be, because I don't look like one, you know what I mean? But if you expect only like engineers or like quiet, nerdy guys, then that's what your whole team is going to look like, right? So if you expect them to be the weirdos, then you will cultivate a team of weirdos. But if you expect them to look like your everyday people and talk like your everyday people and kind of just have a gifting in that way, then that's what you'll get.
Speaking of people look like weirdos, there was a phrase the girls at Union used to have for the engineering department, because there was only a couple of girls in the engineering department. And so they would say, of the boys, their dating odds, the odds are good because there's a lot more boys than there are girls.
Yeah.
But the goods are odd.
That's cute.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not to say we don't totally need that, because we do. We've got like a ton of incredibly technical people, but also just such a range of talents and jobs and lives and personalities.
Yeah.
That I think makes it.
Danielle, where do you fall on kind of like the introvert extrovert scale?
Right in the middle.
Okay.
Every test I've taken, like dead set middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might make her the most extroverted tech there is then, since everyone else is far on the introvert side.
Are you guys good as well?
I am. So my daughter's made me take the test, and she said the test said I'm 70% extroverted. And Blake, you're like 97% extroverted.
I am so extroverted that I've only spent one day alone in years, and I couldn't do it. So I had to go to the bar and read a book just to be around strangers. I cannot be by myself.
Yeah.
You put me in a padded cell alone in solitaire, I will find a way to end my life.
That's because yourself is a terrifying person.
I am too obnoxious to handle by myself.
Yes.
I need
Absolutely.
to other people to absorb it for me.
Danielle, have you found just, first of all, being a girl, not being the quiet weirdo, as you put it, which I love, is just a little bit more disarming for people who might want to explore the production team, and there definitely is the cliche that, well, I'm not a technical person. I'm not kind of a gear nerd.
I'm not a 40-year-old dude with a beard and a beer belly.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I'm describing myself.
And neither is Danielle. Like, everybody is welcome here. Does that help you recruit people?
I think so. I think one of the things that I've learned to do in like our onboarding process is we have like a shadow Sunday, right? Is like one of the first things that they do. So it's like, come show up at the same time our team shows up. I'll kind of take you around while we're doing our thing. You can kind of meet the team a little bit, see what they're doing, hang with us for a whole Sunday. At the end of that, if you want to decide that, yeah, this looks pretty cool, actually, that's when we kick off the actual onboarding. It's like a time investment into you, right? So I think it's always really cool for them to come around and be like, whoa, like there's always two moments of like, whoa, this is really crazy, where they see like, we have a Quantum 338 at front of house, and everyone's like, wow, it's a spaceship. And, you walk into our video control room and they're like, that's a lot of TVs. But then there's also the moment where they sit down next to somebody and they're like, do you do this professionally? And they're like, no, I learned here. Like, come look at what I'm doing. Like, there's the whoa of like seeing how big everything is and how it all works together. And then there's the little ones, they sit down and they're like, oh, your part's actually like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their little, chunk of it once you get into the world of like, oh, this is just, this is purpose zone, or I just operate a camera, you know what I mean? So I think it's cool for them to be like wowed by the bigness of it, but then also the smallness of like, oh, you're like me, I'm like you.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that bad. I could do this.
Yeah. So this is my podcast, so I get to, shout out my own things.
This is our podcast, Toby. Just
like I own you.
Just because you're the owner and founder of ChurchGear and me does not mean you own the podcast.
I'm the owner and founder of you.
I don't know. It is Friday.
So, Danielle, I'm writing a book right now on church production, and in the chapter on recruiting and training your volunteers, I talk about the fact that 338s look like they can launch a spaceship. Like,
if I had $1 for every time somebody called it a spaceship, I'd have a few dollars.
And so I'm thinking like children's ministry, you're like, here's the Kool-Aid, here's the goldfish. And the youth are like, here's the Frisbees and here's the marshmallows. And the production is like, here's our spaceship. Man, use the coolness of your toys to recruit people.
That just goes both ways, though, because on one hand, it's the coolest thing out of all the groups. On the other hand, got to be the most intimidating entry point.
100%.
Yeah.
No one trains you to talk to a teenager. They're just like, say something with Riz. You put someone on that 338 and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Google engineer would, though.
Well, does your husband serve with you?
Yeah, he's actually our lead audio engineer. So that's right on the money.
See, I know what I'm talking about here, Blake.
But I stand behind him and I'm like, it looks intimidating, but it's literally just this. If you understand one little strip, same thing times 38. It's not that bad.
Just thinking about it as like 2 big iPads.
Exactly.
They're just big touchscreens.
I kind of want to do a ride along and just watch someone mix and then narrate for me. Maybe do like an event, so it's low stakes, so I could understand more. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not as scary as I think.
It's not as scary. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So you recruit people, they shadow you for a Sunday, they get hooked on the spaceship sitting there, but they realize, there's stuff that I can actually do here. And so what are your next steps at that point to train?
Yeah. So we do like an onboarding call with them, which is kind of like the first real time that we invest a lot of time into them for me and my admin team, right? So if it's not a fit and they're like, oh no, that's totally not what I meant, I'm going to go, I actually want to go be with the kids, then that's okay, cool. No worries. Super easy. But the onboarding call is just like, hey, here's the culture of our team. Here's the practicals of what time we arrive, what our training looks like. Let me add you to PCO and show you where to put in a block out. Just kind of all of that system stuff. But we also kind of really drill on the culture and make it a little bit scary of this is actually what we expect from you. This is what you're signing up to. This is, we expect you to be on time. We expect you to come prepared. We expect you to hold a certain level of culture in regards to, how we address our pastors, how we talk to our worship team, how we honor each other, which is such a great way to just start off, because later on, if you need to correct something, you're like, hey, we talked about this. This is the standard actually that we're holding. So it makes it really easy that way.
Yeah.
And if they're still on board at the end of that, then great. They're gonna be good.
Yeah.
So
do you have an actual checklist where you're going through this on this call, or are you just kind of winging it? Depends on the call.
I've done it a fair few times, but I do have a checklist.
Toby, she is a former flight inspector. Flight people are the most checklist of any checklist person you could ever check out. So,
well, I want to ask this question for our audience that's thinking okay, if I did this to my church, how would I do it? Put together a checklist of those important things and just walk through the volunteer every single time, the exact same checklist.
Well, and I would say checklist is low key one of our motifs that doesn't come up all the time, but it comes up enough. It's a motif that have a checklist even for a basic thing. I'm curious on the human side, what percentage of, just from a guess, percentage of your people that do this ride along or first day say not for me, and then what percentage of the time are y'all not for us?
Yeah, as in we won't have you on the team.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, you go full. Yeah, you go full. They not like us, and you just give them a full distract.
I would say they get to the end of the Shadow Sunday and go, oh, this is not the team I was looking for, maybe 30% of the time. And I think that's usually an expectation thing. If they thought, oh, the media team is just maybe the people who take photos, or I thought it was going to be a little bit less technical than this or something like that. I think that's most of those cases. Typically the other side where we go, oh, this is not for us, is if there's more of like a culture flag or something that we're like, oh, this does not align with how we want to have our team.
Yeah.
Then it's just like, it's such a like pastorally handled thing as well, of we're like, hey, this person was flagged for this reason. But let's revisit in a little while. Let's kind of like maybe see if they could be a really great fit for another team and like start to learn the rhythms of serving, that kind of thing. Like maybe they just don't respond to things, or they're consistently, no call, no show, or something like that. That's maybe more the kind of thing. But I think if once you have a hunger to learn and you have a hunger to serve, and you can kind of make it through all of those steps successfully, then like there's a pretty good chance you're going to do great.
Yeah. It did happen with you, Blake. You went through onboarding and I'm like, not like us, not for us, but your willingness to work for free, I'm like, man, that's tough to beat.
They just keep putting red flags in my file, and I'm like, so I got the biggest file here is what I heard.
Yep,
so
totally.
Here I am.
All right. So you walk them through expectations and culture. And so what comes next for you guys?
Yeah. So we do that, and then we set them up well for their first Sunday. So I'm really all about like kind of like setting people up for success, right? Like you never actually want them to fail any of this. You want to give them all the keys to do well. So we get as like granular as like, hey, here's exactly where you park. Here's exactly which entrance you go in, that kind of thing, and get them set for their first Sunday. When they're on their first Sunday, we kind of start their training plan, right? So by the end of that onboarding thing, we've kind of identified like something that sparked joy when they've done their shadow of like, oh, lights looked pretty cool, or like, I think I could do media, or actually I have a passed-in camera and that looked sick. So we've usually identified something like that by that point. So we just pair them up with whoever's already doing that. And we kind of do a training plan generally of like, they shadow with somebody who's already been doing it. And then eventually they'll start taking over little bits, and then they'll do it while someone watches and coaches, and then they do it by themselves with maybe some training mats scattered along, depending on what station it is.
Yeah. Have you developed any video training or documentation that, if they're going to sit in a camera, like here's the basics, here's a couple training videos. Do you have any of like that stuff?
We do. I have mostly slide decks that we'll tend to go through. I've found video training to be like a little bit less effective than quiz-based training, or like in person going through something with a trainer that allows you to kind of like break down things a little further, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And what are the hardest roles on your team for you guys to find escapable people, unlike Blake, that can actually do it?
Again, like I think there's only one person out of that 38 that actually went to college for anything production related.
Yeah.
So everything's trained in-house by our trainers. I think lighting is kind of a long ramp up because it's deeply technical, but also very creative, in that a lot of it is like hard to explain this, but you need to catch the feel right now. Yeah. I think audio is one of the nuts that I've maybe just cracked as far as training. We've just kind of started to get a really good framework around audio training, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Blake, every great lighting engineer I know, I'm going to say most of them are just young, like teenage and young 20-year-old guys. It's like their minds are still fresh enough they can handle all the technical part, but they're really creative too. It's fascinating to watch.
Well, and I would imagine when we talk about lighting designers, they sound a lot like designers. Sometimes you just kind of, you got it or you don't.
Yep, totally. Like if somebody creates the scenes, yeah, I know how to press the buttons and change them between songs, but you want me to create a lighting design that actually intentionally works with the flow of the worship? Yeah, you either got it or you don't.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little commercial break here because I was scrolling through our guest's Instagram. You went to the Taylor Swift concert.
Yes.
I am also a Taylor Swift #girly. So tell me, like, was it amazing? Did you have any production thoughts? Is it hard to turn your brain off?
Amazing. I knew there was, I've been like checking through some podcasts and I knew there was a Swiftie. It was incredible. So I think like going to concerts is the best development for a production person that you could do, especially like, you know, AAA, like high profile concerts, because they have so much of the best of everything. My husband and I were like literally the whole time like, did you see that transition? Did you hear that? Oh my gosh, did you see that? Look at what they're doing with the video layers. So it was incredible. Turned my brain off a little bit at times, but it's hard to miss just like the top tier excellence. Like all the transitions just got me. Like your attention was so well redirected and everything was so like clean and snappy. I was like, ooh, incredible.
Okay. One more selfish question. Have you watched it on Disney Plus? Like, what is the comparable? Because that's all. Toby got free tickets from one of our corporate overlords, and he took his wife instead of me. So mean.
I know.
So uncalled for. So unprofessional. So I've only seen it on Disney Plus. Is it, 50% is good, 90% is good, 0% is good?
Oh, 100% is good. Like that with the atmosphere in the room. But then I was also so in awe of like, as a performer, like my feet were tired. I had to take sitting breaks, and she's just out there like performing like that. It's insane. It's literally wild.
Could you hear well, or like,
Yeah.
I went to the
audio was great. It wasn't like deafening, like it was controlled, but you could hear everything. It was probably one of the best arena concert audios I've heard. And we were at Levi's in Santa Clara.
See, because, everyone at that concert has at least one song that they're going to sing their soul out to, because it's a song that got them through, their ex, I had one of those. So during the movie, I'm watching some girls do this and I'm thinking, oh, I thought it might've been kind of hard to hear, but it sounds like it wasn't.
It was interesting.
There was a lot of screaming, but like it was still solid sound.
It wasn't just one song, is every song 80,000 teenage girls are like screaming their lungs out.
Girls and guys.
And Blake.
Yeah.
And like Danielle said, the audio wasn't overwhelming, but it was still loud enough that it felt like it was just above the crowd, but it wasn't, some concerts are incredibly loud, but it was clear and as well done, and it wasn't overdone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just had to take that selfish commercial break. When I saw that she went, I was like, oh.
Are you scrolling Instagram while we're interviewing her?
I wanted to see. I was like, let me see if there's any other questions. Look at what it produced. That's a great little segment we just had, Toby.
So you can geek out on your celebrity crush.
Yes. Look, one for them, one for me. I know at any moment we're getting close to the sponsored segment that's going to trigger and booby trap me. So, no.
And here we go into Baffle Blake time, brought to us by our friends at HouseRight. All right, Blake, it is time to baffle you again.
Isn't that just the whole podcast, Toby?
That usually is, but specifically, we're partnering with our friends at HouseRight to baffle you in this new segment we like to refer to as Baffling Blake. So HouseRight is an amazing integration team that works with almost exclusively churches all over the country to partner with their architects in pre-building phase or current room renovations, where they help make sure that your space looks aesthetically pleasing, but also acoustically correct for the style of worship that your church is trying to achieve.
You said the word architect, and I just haven't heard anything since. I'm like, that sounds way too technical. That's above my pay grade, but it's not above HouseRight's pay grade.
No, it should be above all our pay grades, but HouseRight does this all the time, and they're amazing at it. And if you are not specifically looking for an integration project, but you're like, hey, I am looking for my next career or opportunity, HouseRight is also hiring amazing people to join their team.
They're hiring.
They are hiring. So if you have been looking at the map and looking at Lexington, Kentucky, very lovingly because of horse racing and bourbon and HouseRight.
And high proof bourbon at that.
Yes. Go to HouseRight.com, check out their opportunities, and start a conversation today. And we love HouseRight, incredible integration company out of Lexington, Kentucky. They work with the coolest churches and doing the most amazing projects. If you're looking for your next integration partner, check them out at HouseRight.com. And Blake, what else?
If you're looking for your next job and you want to move to Lexington, Kentucky, which has high proof bourbon, horse races, and HouseRight, check out their brand new website. You can also see some of the solutions they've engineered, see if it's work that excites you. And listen, the true key in life is, can you get a high paying job in a low cost of living city? Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity. This does not happen. Yeah. I have a low paying job in a high cost of living city. So, I might flip it and go move to HouseRight. I joked about that with Luke on the call this morning. So you should go apply, and I'll see you there in Lexington. All right. Let's submit to the segment. Here we go.
All right, Danielle, we're going to play true or false. Did this actually happen? Did a volunteer at a church actually do this or not? So I will read the incident, and then you get to guess first. Is it real or fake? And then, Blake, you will, as you always do, ride coattails
Toby,
of our
we've
guest.
been over this. The person in the lead goes first.
You don't get to make up any rules. I make all the rules.
By game theory, if not, then you only need 1 point to
Shut up.
write out the whole game.
Shut up.
You're an idiot.
All right. First up, a volunteer accidentally played the Baby Shark bumper video between worship and sermon. Danielle, what do you say?
False. Like, that's hard to do, right? That's hard to do.
So Toby gets these from ChatGPT. Half of them aren't even real. That does feel like you asked the internet, what's a dumb thing to do here? Play Baby Shark. So I'm also going to say false.
It was true. Apparently it was the Sunday after VBS, and it was just accidentally placed in there. So
all right, fine. That's
I know.
plausible.
Both of you have 0 points so far. I'm deeply
I see
disappointed.
how that happened. Yeah.
All right, next up, a volunteer walked onto stage in a Batman costume during the Easter sermon, thinking it was time for the skit. True or false, Danielle?
I want that to be true so bad.
True. I'm just going to say it's true because that would be amazing.
I'm going to say false.
It is false. It was a Spider-Man costume.
WTF. Okay.
Amazing.
I've got a point, finally. I had my clock clean yesterday.
All right, next up, a camera operator followed a toddler crawling down the aisle instead of the pastor during the sermon.
100% true.
As they should. I'm going to say false.
That is definitely true.
All right.
Yep.
1-1.
It was a female camera operator. She's like, oh, baby.
Toby, that's so sexist of you. You don't know that. That could have been a dude.
That's what chat told me.
ChatGPT, this breaking news, ChatGPT
Is sexist.
is sexist.
All right, next up, a volunteer once triggered the church's fog machine during a funeral.
True.
Okay, Blake?
Toby, I want to have a fake funeral so I can hear all the nice things people will say about me. I'm going to say it's... How many do we have left? One more?
Only one more after this.
I'm going to say it's true.
It is true.
Okay. It's
All right.
2-2.
All right, last one. A sound tech once muted the pastor's mic but left their own live, and everyone heard them ordering a pizza.
True. It sounds plausible.
Okay.
They shouldn't have their own mic, so I'm going to say false.
It was true.
What? Why did the tech have a mic on
They have
themselves?
a talkback and accidentally routed it to the... it was probably routed to the live stream, but...
I mean, Danielle, you tell us, like, that sounds kind of difficult to accidentally reroute the talkback.
I could see it being live streamed. It'd be really hard to do if you're talking back from front of house and ordering a pizza. I can't see that happening.
Not only,
But I could see it happening just to live stream.
can you imagine not just making a mistake, but making a mistake that's like profoundly hard to do?
It could be a lot more embarrassing, though, than just ordering a pizza.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't say the things that it could be on this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, Danielle, you just won a prize pack from HouseRight. I think I've already sent the email to this week's guest. So all you got to do is fill out that link and you'll get some cool stuff from our friends over there, which I thought they were going to have to pay to ship it to Australia, but apparently just California.
Yep. And again, if you're looking for your next integration partner or you're looking for your next career, go visit our friends at HouseRight at houseright.com.
They will help you fix those critical, especially if you're in the building phase. Like truly, if you're in the building phase, make sure you talk to them before you get too deep in it, because then you might make some really big, expensive mistakes.
And avoid the stupid tax.
And you can talk to them for free.
Yeah.
There are people that are out there charging you just to talk to you now. They don't do that.
All right, Danielle. So these moments of chaos that some were true, some were not. How do you keep your production team, 38 people, and it can often feel like herding cats or herding children. How do you keep the chaos at a minimum and keep everybody organized and in check?
Toby, she has an iron grip like Stalin.
A little bit.
Oh, that was dangerous. That was dangerous.
No, I think it's great. Probably the best thing that we do is we teach them to default to the producer and the TD in like crisis moments. And then we train those two roles to work really well together. And we teach our producers a little bit what I was talking about earlier with aviation concepts is there's one called Aviate, Navigate, Communicate, which is what they teach pilots. Engines on fire. What do you do? How do you not freak out? How do you kind of like order all of the things that you've got to do in order to get back to flying normally or landing or whatever it is. And they teach aviate, which is fly the plane, like keep the wings up. Doesn't matter where you're going if the plane's going down. Navigate, which is now your wings are level, awesome. You're not actively crashing, but where are you going? Are you about to crash into a mountain? And then communicate, which is, okay, cool. Now that you're somewhat in the clear, plane's not actively going down, you're not actively about to put yourself into disaster. Tell somebody about it. This is the time to talk to, the aircraft towers and everyone else. So we kind of took that and translated it to production, right? Of aviate, which is, okay, cool. Let's like troubleshoot the problem, get the stream back, make service happen. Say like the power's gone out or something. Navigate, which is where are we going next and where are we in the timelines? Do we have time to extend something to fix it? Do we know where the service is going? Do we have time to do, option A, B, or C? And if not, where do we make time? And then communicate, which is like rally the team of like, okay, now you've made some decisions, you've asked some questions. All right, guys, let's do this. And then you go into kind of your sequence and you communicate it also back to your pastor or your lead at the end.
Yeah. So you have service producer and tech lead or, so are those two positions, are they approved to produce in the soup? Because I know aviation terms.
Wait, what does that mean?
In the soup? You don't know?
In the soup.
That's
again, college was a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, Danielle. So I guess there's a certain level of pilot that you have to be above that level or have a certain amount of hours of training in order to fly into the soup, which is, I guess, clouds where you can't see around you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Fly by instrument. There you go. It is, yes, I think so. So we're about to be going on some PTO and my team's totally got it for the rest of the time that I'm out because I know that they know how to like handle crisis moments like this. And
in the soup. Blake, I learned that term from Craig Rochelle because he is a pilot and he has the hours and the certification to fly into the soup.
God, why did we give a couple of people all the talents?
Yeah.
We didn't spread them out. Nope. I guess it's just he was going to use them and return well on the investment,
That's
clearly.
true.
But my goodness, he's handsome, he's big, he's buff, he's a preacher of a mega church. He's a pilot.
Yeah, he has like one of the
best leadership podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really does.
God gave him all the stuff, man.
I know, and gave you none of it.
Is he got like well-behaved? His children better be monsters. He needs something.
I mean, Dave Roediger's met one of them before at the pastors conference.
And apparently they were super nice. And they knew who we were.
I know.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if I was flying us in the soup, it would be quite a disaster. We've talked about a lot of near disasters or possible disasters on this podcast today. Danielle, tell us a moment where you almost didn't correct it, or maybe you didn't correct it and you had a production crash, and what happened, how you addressed it with leadership afterwards, or if you saved the day and just was able to pull it up in the last second.
This incident gave me my visceral hate of confetti.
Oh, we love confetti stories.
I know I heard Christina Pendleton's episode and I was dying at her confetti story, but the confetti. So my pastor had this huge sermon at our women's conference, and it was the last night of the conference, so much momentum, and he wanted to have confetti as like a sermon illustration, right? And great message. It was about like pressure and, what happens when God like releases you and boom. And we were supposed to run the confetti out on stage. It was one of those like air compressor speed load cannons with like a control box that big red button and you push it. And we ran it out on stage. He hits the button, nothing happens. And my stagehand runs back out. He's got nothing happens. I run up on stage, hit the button, nothing happens. I look at him like, I don't know what's going on. Run off stage with the cannon. And something we also teach is like that it's not over until it's over, right? So I go, okay, I have like a CO2 powered confetti cannon somewhere in the back rooms, and somebody run and go get the haze from the CO2 tank up from where this haze machine is running, and someone go grab it. I think I've got a bag of confetti in a cupboard somewhere. Somebody go grab that, and pastor's still on stage trying to like just work with it. And God bless our pastor. He is like, I've seen such bad cultures where it gets called out from stage of like, you know, dunking on the production team a bit, but he's like so graceful under pressure. He's just like, he's making something of it, like doesn't even mention it, just keeps preaching. And it's kind of the climax of the message. We're like over the side of stage. Someone's got like the wrench. Someone's videoing this. I have a video of it.
Well, send it.
It's in the black box.
Send it to me.
Yeah, okay. And we're like literally rigging together a different confetti machine with confetti from like thin air. And we get it out there. So it's like, it's a smaller plume of confetti than it would have been, and it's a little off center, but like before he came off stage, we had confetti in the air, which I'm super proud of. But because it wasn't perfect, I got downgraded for a hot minute. Sometimes unofficially, it feels weird for me to say this, but when people introduce other people to me, they don't always know my title. So they're like, this is Danielle, she's our production queen. So it's kind of become an in-joke, and our pastor downgraded me to production princess for a little minute. So until the next time, the confetti worked perfectly. So I take the machines back in on the Monday. They were rentals. And I'm like, guys, what the heck? Like, we've used these vendors for years. We've rented these machines multiple times. They've always worked perfectly. What's going on? Turns out because they're compressed air cannons, they used to send them out fully compressed, like you just put confetti in, hit the button, good to go. And they had an incident where they sent it out as usual, but a customer set it off in their car. Their kid somehow did something and set it off in their car. So they stopped sending them out compressed, but like didn't tell us. So the conversation on the other side was able to be like, hey, I'm so sorry about that. So, you know, like we've done the investigation, we figured out what it was, but we've also figured out how to mitigate that and like use our own compressor next time. And now we know what that was. It's not going to happen again, which puts that trust back in, you know?
Okay. I'd like to open us up for a set of hot takes here.
Great.
Do we think you should ever be called out from the stage? Is there ever an instance where the pastor should be calling out production negatively from the stage? Or is that just, hey, you don't do that, pastor?
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
So we're saying don't call them out.
Praise in public, correct in private.
100%. 100%.
All right. Note to future Blake, clip this, put it on social. Let's see if the public agrees.
Great.
Maybe we'll have some Enneagram 8s that are like, no, you need to call them out in the moment. Well, it sounds like that was our tech takeaway as a group, was to say don't call out from the stage. But Danielle, if you were going to give a tech takeaway other than don't call it from the stage and always make sure you got the compression in your confetti cannons, what would you say to a room full of production people to make their Sundays better?
I would say get a great system of troubleshooting and how to keep your team calm, and practice it, drill it, post-mortem it, so that you know when something's gone wrong, how to do it better next time, but create just a great culture of learning and like continuous improvement over blame.
Blake, I'm just imagining if you were the production director and you had a plan to keep your people calm, you'd just be like, you get a Xanax, you get a Xanax, you get a Xanax.
Toby, Xanax is got to be prescribed. It'd be like, and here's a shot of bourbon for you. Here's a shot of bourbon for you. Are you under 21? All right, everybody, look away. Here's a shot of bourbon for you. And then keep going down the line. Fun fact, I was having to ID people for the Philo after party at Amplio. And every ID is different based upon the state. So you really do look like a buffoon trying to find the birthday on every single license because it's in a different spot. Did
you come across any underage people that were trying to get a drink?
No, but here's the awkward part. Like, I'm trying to keep the line moving. So if I think you look pretty old, I'm not going to ID you.
Yeah.
But if I don't ID someone that thinks they look young and they're 40, and then I ID their friend who looks younger than them, like I got a couple people that looked a little miffed.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is awkward. Anyways.
Yeah.
Danielle, we appreciate you coming on the pod, especially with as early as it is for you on your Australian time. Anything you want to plug, anywhere you want to point people towards?
Yeah, I think one of the best and biggest things that we've just done, but it's not too early to register for next year, is amenexperience.com is our Amen Experience. It's where you'll see Vive at its most global. It's in Mountain View next June. And my Instagram, Danielle Iselin.
I will say, ChurchGear, follow Danielle on Instagram because she has a lot of cool stuff, and we don't follow many people, so she is a great production follow on the gram.
And I definitely would love to be in Mountain View in June because weather is perfect.
Well,
perfect.
Maybe now that we're not afraid of flying anymore, even though the rules are written in blood.
No, because I got my Xanax.
You can go fly over there.
Yeah.
You take the Xanax, I'll take the bourbon. We'll see which works best.
Perfect. All right.
We'll see you soon, then, apparently, Danielle.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope to see you back next week for more absurd stories, tech takeaways, and overall buffoonery here at the ChurchGear Studios.
All right, Blake. So I imagine you thinking that your title around here is Podcast Prince.
Oh, dude, I want to be a podcast jester because you can't go up, you can't go down. You're immortal.
That's true. And I was going to call you the podcast piece of crap, but if you want to elevate back to podcast jester, the PPOC.
The PPOZ. I like that.
Yeah.
He's the PPOC. We should just start saying that, not tell anybody what it means.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, oh yeah, it's the podcast piece of critical piece.
There you go.
Yeah. If I wanted to be the podcast captain though, I'd send this to my friends. I'd be like, hey, let's go, fly somewhere. This will ease your flying fears.
Yeah.
We fly on the airwaves of the blood of previous people. So
I know. And if you want to finally be qualified to fly into the soup like Craig O'Shell, then you've got to share this podcast with your friends.